Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everybody. I'm Preacher Boss, host of the SOS, the Shout Out Show. Hope that you're having a tremendous Wednesday. We know that it's hump day and we are into that downward slide heading to, you got it, Christmas. So, all you Muslims out there that have not completed your Christmas shopping, you don't have a whole lot of time left. Before you wind up trying to get your stuff from Walgreens or the gas station, make sure that you get your gifts for Christmas, Muslims, and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and whatever else you're trying to celebrate. That's from your Uncle Preach. So I hope you're doing well, brothers and sisters. I want to welcome everybody back to the show. Yesterday, we had quite a show, a bit of a celebration, just a celebration of gratitude, friendship, fellowship. We had people coming on. Thanks everybody that came on for the show and everybody that called yesterday to make sure that the old man had a happy 55th birthday. I appreciate you, man. Allah continue to guide you and reward you. So we're switching gears today. We're switching up gears today, brothers and sisters. I had held on to this topic that we're going to be talking about for a while. I held on to it. When I say I held on to it, what I mean by that is the fact that I didn't cover it last week because I felt like I had to do some homework. Not so much homework, but a little bit of soul searching. There was an aspect, if you will, whereby I felt as though I had to kind of go back and look at historical narrative and not be one, judgmental, and two, not be rushing to judgment about these things, but literally having to look at the flow. And when I say look at the flow, what I'm talking about is the scope of liberation movements in the United States. Black people, Latinos, Muslims, gays, lesbians, anybody who felt like they wanted to get themselves up from under the boot of the oppressor has gone through these things. Now, everyone knows, if you don't know, that the blueprint for getting out of oppression here in the United States, moving out of slavery, is, of course, the diaspora, the aspect of Africans being brought over here forcefully to be slaves and forced labor, if you will. But then something happens, brothers and sisters, and it's nothing short of a miracle. It's the fact that people re-identify and reimagine themselves outside of the scope of an oppression. They say to themselves that I have rights. Not that I don't have rights, but I have agency, I have presence, I have purpose for the space I'm being in. And that purpose is not directly tied to you in terms of service to you or your government or your ideas. More and more, brothers and sisters, we are beginning to see an attack on those ideals. We're seeing more of a very, very myopic, a very, very skewed view of who matters here in the United States. And once you get to the space of talking about who matters here in the United States, it becomes who's number one. It becomes who's better. I always say that the devil's two cruelest tricks was, number one, getting a man, a human being, to believe he was better than somebody else. And number two, he had more time. This, brothers and sisters, is nothing short of a catastrophe. We live in a society that has perplexed me since I was a kid. That a society that claims to have truth, justice, the American way, at a very young age as a child, probably the same as many of you, I looked at America and I said, this is a country that's filled up with a lot of people that not only are hateful, but a lot of people who are miserable. You can work through hate, but it's hard to work through miserable. And the way that people somehow get away from this misery is projecting it onto other people. Now, in slavery, you can do that because society allowed you to do that. But as laws matriculated, you couldn't do that. So the idea becomes, let me affect the way that you live. Let me affect your quality of life, not just for you or your wife or your family, but also your kids. Let me fundamentally take the things and gut the institutions and give them to you where they have no meaning, no purpose, no bite, and somehow tell you that, what are you talking about? You have the same rights as everyone else. You don't have the same rights as everyone else. And as we get into this subject today, brothers and sisters, I am going to ask some very institutional questions about what is liberation if someone can snatch it from you. When I say snatch it from me, I don't mean in wars. We don't do wars anymore, brothers and sisters. It's done by laws. It's done by statutes. It's done by local boards, if you will, pretending pretending to err in the best interest of their constituents. They do not. We're in the middle of a pandemic, and guess what, brothers and sisters? It's a war not between the vaccinated and the unvaccinated. It's a war between those who have proper information and those who seek to give you disinformation. In this space, for the next couple minutes, brothers and sisters, we're going to talk about something that's actually running through the Muslim community. I talked about it last year. I talked about Muslims in blackface. If you want to go look that up, you can. But something happened recently, and I'm going to talk about it because even now, brothers and sisters, the problem was not eradicated. It was not blown up. It was not thoroughly investigated. We let a rat who ratted on this community walk. We let a rat who informed our enemies walk. I'm going to tell you why he walked. And I'm going to tell you the way things should be and the way things actually are. Here on the ShOUt Show. Stick with us. We'll be right back in a minute. ShOUt Show, Preacher Boss. Satana, let's get started. We're back. Before we get started, brothers and sisters, again, like I said, I want to thank everybody that tuned in for the show yesterday. What is the show? What is the ShOUt Show without giving shout out people, giving shout outs to your ShOUt family and ShOUt soldiers? It's a pretty bad show. I always say that while I'm the host of the show, I don't own the platform. The people who come on the platform, they're the ones who make the show. This is a relationship show. So when people come on and you may see me ask them, how's your parents? How's your wife? How are your children, brothers and sisters? It's because generally this is the way conversation happens. It's not fake. It's not phony. This is the way we get out. That's all I want to say. So before we get into the meat of our discussion today, let's go ahead and get some people here on the ShOUt Show. First up, we're going to give a shout out to our resident dietitian, dietary director, craft services. That would be Sister Ree. How you doing, Sister Ree? We appreciate you as always. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Peace and blessings to you, Derek, and Juan as well. We hope that you're feeling better. I'm keeping an eye out. Mom is telling me some things. We need to talk. All right, next up, Brother Altaf Rashid, my main man. It's 6 o'clock from all the way from Toronto. The brother's always on time. And he's also our Canadian ambassador to the show. Make sure the quality of the show is good on this side of the border and that side of the border too. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Altaf, man, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for making it to the show. Next up, I know it's Eric, but I'm from DC. Eric. I'm gonna give a wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brother Eric. Thank you so much for coming to the show. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for tuning in. This should be a barn burner. I hope everybody has an open mind. Feel free, brothers and sisters, to jump in because it's going to be some historical narrative. All of us are going to be able to identify. That's what I'm thinking. And we're going to make this just a thinking show. We're going to make it a thinking show. All right. Thanks for joining us, Eric. Appreciate you. What's the world without brother Salahuddin? Thank you for coming on the show. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace and blessings to your family, my brother. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. And again, I appreciate all those well wishes from yesterday. Some of y'all had some pretty cruel jokes, but it's all right. I take cruel jokes. I deserve it. All right. Thank you, Bilal. Appreciate you. And what's the show without Johnny L. Thomas, my little brother, JT? What's going on? I appreciate you and Yolanda. And JT had the audacity to call me up at 10 o'clock last night, knowing his brother was asleep, talking about you asleep, huh? I was like, absolutely. But I appreciate you, brother. Much love. And feel free to jump in on this because this is some stuff that we talk about. Next up, what's going on? Sister Jasmine Fruits, all the way from the UK. We haven't seen you in a while, but you know what? It doesn't matter. You are family. You are ShOUt Show royalty, sister. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the team. We haven't seen you in a while. We hope that you're doing well and Pop is doing well and your babies are doing well. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope things are working out over there. We heard that the virus, the Omicron virus, is going kind of crazy over in the UK. So watch your health. Guard your health. All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Sister Fruits. And we got Mama Son. What's going on, Mom? Appreciate you coming on the show. Mama Son, I know I railed against Red Lobster yesterday. I just want you to know from the bottom of my heart, I meant every word. No, I did. I appreciate you coming on the show, despite me bashing Red Lobster, that seafood from ShOUt. All right, let's get it rolling. Who we got next? And what? How? Wa alaikum assalam.